territory where Carlos Bullosan once lived to tell the story of the rain, sweat, glory of Mike Jackson men who fight the destination we were destined to end. Left a writing on the wall in the halls of the Nippon Khan. Others transformed, majority Decepticons, but my conception of the...
All right, we're back here for the Wait for It Seattle podcast. I'm Kevin. This is Daniel filling in, subbing in. He's going to become the sixth man of the year for our podcast. Snatched him up right after the basketball season ended. Daniel, how are you?
I'm good, man. You got me at the right time. This is a time for me where I'm getting out of broadcasting season and just itching to get in front of a microphone any chance I get. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, you're not the only broadcaster that's been on podcasts. I've listened to quite a few. Yogi Roth has a good college football podcast. He's on Substack. Tony Castricone, another broadcaster for the Huskies, he's on Substack and he has his own little podcast called Play by Play U. I listen to some of that. Both good. I recommend both of them if you don't want to hear my voice or Brian's voice or Daniel's voice.
I'm a big fan of Tony Castricone, so
yeah,
good plug there.
Yeah. Do you think he's better at basketball or football?
Honestly, I haven't spent a ton of time listening to him on basketball. I listened to a lot of his football broadcasts. I did. There were a couple times where I needed to get to bed, and it was a late night West Coast tip off, so I'd like turn the TV off and just like listen to the broadcast. But he's real good on those football games, man.
Yeah, I mean, big shoes to fill in, and I mean, he's done such a great job, right? And I've really enjoyed him. Crazy enough, I live in the Bay Area, but I was at 2 Seattle sporting events in 2 days. Thank you to my wife for allowing me to do these things and actually accompanying me on both of these events. I got to tell you about, I'm not a huge hockey guy, and I know you're not.
What happens during basketball season, man? Like, how am I supposed to pay attention?
Yeah. So Brian talks a lot about the Kraken, and the Kraken have not been good at all this season. They're not making the playoffs. They're second to last place in the Western Conference. And you know who last place is actually the San Jose Sharks, which I'm only a couple blocks away from where their games are played. So I headed on over there on Saturday night. And we get there and have you ever been to the SAP Center, by the way?
No.
San Jose? Okay, because I remember I saw you when your team came down and played at San Jose State. So the SAP Center is in downtown San Jose. It's where they have concerts. I've seen Pitbull. I didn't see Pitbull. Christine went to Pitbull. What did I go to? I went to, oh my gosh, this is bad. Daddy Yankee. She just came in to remind me. I went to Daddy Yankee. We had a suite. It was great. Don't ask me why we had a suite to Daddy Yankee, but it happened.
That's elite.
Yeah. So anyways, we go into the SAP Center, right? And the concourse is like, we're trying to get to our seats, and they just like, security guards are like pushing us back. They're like, don't go past this. And they're doing it on the other side of this. So there's like kind of like a walkway preserved. And we're like, what's going on? Like, the game's about to start. We need to get to our seats. And Christine starts pushing. She's like, Kevin, why don't you just go? Like, look. And I was like, no, I'm going to respect the security guards. And so then we see little kids kind of just start to walk through. It's like, oh, cool. It's kind of like a Make-A-Wish thing or something like that, right? Totally off base because then I hear someone yell, "Oh, it's Steph!" And right in front of me walks Steph Curry. Like, literally, I've never been that close to greatness. The best shooter of all time just walked right in front of me. He was taking in the San Jose Sharks game with his daughter. And then, of course, when he finally got to our seats, Christine was like kind of just scanning the crowd to see, the suites where he was. And he was like right directly across from us. So, of course, we were watching his every move. He was just chilling. It was him and his daughter just taking in some hockey. But that was probably the highlight of the game for me. I mean, at the end, this is what's great about hockey. So the Kraken won 5-1, but at the end of the game, the match, they were just like throwing blows, just like pushing guys up against the glass. Like there were like there's under a minute left, and there were three hits against the glass. I don't know what the proper terminology is. And then one of the dudes then they just start fighting. There's
Yeah.
30 seconds left in the game. 5-1, like the game's over, and then they just throw down. It was literally the most exciting part of the match. Um, there's 30 seconds left. Like four guys got like put in the penalty box. It was awesome. I love hockey. It was a pointless game. There was no reason for me to be there, except for some reason the greatest shooter of all time was there, and I was able to watch the Kraken win. So it was a great victory. Um, so that's story time for the Kraken. And then I literally just got back from the Giants game. Mariners Giants. Did you watch?
Yeah, yeah, watch the
Ah,
whole thing.
God. So it was great. I mean, the environment. Have you been? Okay, so then I'm going to ask you, have you been to AT&T or Oracle Park?
I have, yes, I have.
Yeah,
I went a couple years ago.
I actually think it's nicer than T-Mobile. I know that's heresy, but like it is right on the water. There's not a sight line. It's just intimate. It's just a great ballpark. I don't think. I mean, would you agree? You've been to quite a few ballparks.
I do think it's a very nice park, and I mean the layout of it with the water. Like when I went, we sat up high, like deep down the left field line,
Hmm.
so we were just staring at the water. So that was great.
Yeah.
The only thing that threw me off, and like obviously people talk it up a lot. I think it's a very, very highly regarded sporting venue, but I thought their sound system was like really bad. So
This is the stuff
maybe,
that you recognize as a,
well, I'm like these walk-up songs that they're flat, man. Like I'm trying to get into this. It's a
yeah.
Sunday afternoon, the sun's shining in the Bay
Oh,
Area,
yeah, it was
and
just like this. It was Sunday afternoon. So let's talk about the Mariners a little bit because Polanco was out, so there are a bunch of backups starting today, and um they got back. The game was almost over in the ninth inning, and then they rally, tie it up, and then the penultimate play where Robles crashes into the wall or the netting. I guess it was the netting.
it was the netting.
And let me
Looked
tell you,
very
I had
painful.
no idea that this happened because we were on the first base line and where we were seated was kind of like above the wall. So the angle from where we were sitting, like basically he disappeared. Like we couldn't see what had happened. And I was so confused because I saw the runner advance to third and I was like, did he drop the ball? Like what happened? But then I pulled up Twitter and finally I started to see like the explanations of what happened. Like people were freaking out about the catch, but then like we were sitting there and then we see the trainers come in, rush in and tend to him, and then he gets carted off, and then unfortunately, I think he's going to be out for a while. I haven't seen any news since then, but I think I mean, he could barely walk.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to tell with all the replays they showed. I'm like,
Yeah.
did he snap his thumb? Did he snap his wrist? Did he snap his shoulder? Like what? But
Yeah, they were
the way
saying,
he hit, like it just looked like everything. Like there were points where they were showing him as like Dan Wilson and the medical staff went out there and like, at one point he's like grabbing his hand, then he's grabbing his forearm, and he's reaching for his upper arm. Like everything about it just looked super awkward and clumsy and painful.
yeah, so it says a shoulder injury, and they're going to undergo tests, but like he's good. He's been one of the guys that have been from the start. Like he's been hitting the ball well. I mean, he got on base and he scored the tying run. Or no, did he get the hit? Was it him that got the hit, or was it Rosarena got the hit?
Rosarena had the
And then
hit.
Robles scored. So, um, it's going to be a huge blow if he's out for a significant amount of time because he is a key piece for the
Well,
team.
Lord knows we have no depth behind him because we don't have depth behind anybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's jump into the Mariners and then we'll get to the final four. Um, 0 series wins. The team is 3-7 and a little banged up. Like I don't know what's going on with Polanco either. He didn't play today. What's your assessment? I mean, 10 games, that's 2 rounds through the rotation now.
I just I watch them and I'm like, this is just a team that is not very good. I mean,
It's early.
it is early, but
Yeah.
you just kind of look up and down and it's like where's the spark gonna come from? And you have Julio starting off the season better than he has through his first 3 years,
Yeah.
and you have a guy like Robles who might be spending a large chunk of time on the shelf, and that's gonna set everything back a little bit. But I just like I think about some of the pieces we've let go because they haven't been productive, but we've replaced them with less productive players. I'm like, we've basically been batting a pitcher in the second baseman spot for the last couple years. I'm like, well, maybe we
Mhm.
should have just kept a guy like Adam Frazier. Like he that good for us? No, but he could hit above 200 pretty comfortably. And same with Ty France. He fell off from his all-star form, but at the same time, it's like,
Yeah.
well, if Ty France is still going to bat 250, that's probably better than what we're replacing him with.
Is
So
it
that's a
killing
little
you? You know
concerning.
what's killing me is the Gino Suarez. I mean, I love him and I'm happy for him, but man, he's one I
Yeah,
would
that's
have
another one.
loved.
Like we traded him, and I understood why we wanted to get off him when we did. We owed him a decent chunk of money. He was coming off of a pretty subpar year, but we got nothing in return,
Yeah.
and we haven't really replaced him with like an everyday third baseman.
Yep.
So it's just nothing about the lineup screams playoff team to me. You already have
Yeah.
George Kirby out, so that has us
Oh,
working from behind. So we finally have this big game Friday where we score a bunch of runs, but we have Luis F. Castillo pitching, not Luis Castillo. And then we spend our whole bullpen the day after a rest day because our starter only goes 3 innings and sets us up poorly for our bullpen usage over a 3 game series against a really good team. I feel like we're already behind, and
yeah.
we are. I mean, I think we're 5 games back in the
Yeah.
division already through 10
Yeah.
games of the season, and we're gonna have plenty of time to make that up, obviously. But I'm not. I'm just not encouraged at the moment.
Yeah. So coming up, the Mariners got a 3-game home set against their rival, the Houston Astros, and then they'll head over to and then they'll host Texas. So a 6-game homestand against division opponents. It's only April, but
Sure.
it would be really great to win at least one of these series. It would be really great to, go 500 here against your division and not lose any additional ground. But then after that, you're on a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9-game road series, 9-game road set before you return home. So, gotta win at home and take advantage of, your pitching and being home and, gaining ground on the division. So, anything else on the Mariners?
I don't think so. I'm
Yeah.
just maybe I'm coming in with too bad of an attitude, and I need to get checked on that or something. But I don't love when we have a road trip and just get swept. Like
Yeah.
all pretty winnable games. Like Saturday there was
Yeah.
no life, but like the way we lost Friday and Sunday, those are ones you got to snatch on the road because it's so hard to overcome that. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
I know it's so early, but then when we inevitably miss out on something at the end of the year by a couple games, like these are the types of games I always look back on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll remember this one because I was there. And JJ had a good time. He was clapping for the wrong team, but he was outfitted in his Mariners gear.
You get him a
And
Barry Bonds jersey from the
we
team
did
store.
not get him a Barry Bonds jersey, but I did get a pack of tops, and we haven't opened it yet. So, uh, I can't wait for it. I don't know
You
if I
can't
bought
stay
the
away
the
from the
pack.
cards, man.
I don't I don't know if I bought the baseball cards for him or for me. It can be for both of us.
You guys can
Uh,
share. That's okay.
Good investment. Um. Well, so I went to the Kraken and I went to the Mariners game, and I didn't watch any basketball this weekend. What the hell happened in the Final Fours?
Well, first of all, there was a lot of good hoops on all weekend. I mean, the women's Final Four ended up being kind of a dud, but I had 3 screens going earlier today with the Mariners on one, the Lakers and Thunder game on one TV and the women's championship game on one TV. But I mean, Friday night was for the on the women's side, like UConn ran away with it and South Carolina ran away with it, so that was pretty uneventful. But the two games on the men's side Saturday were both excellent. I mean, just you have undoubtedly the four best teams in the country all playing on the same day.
Yeah.
I think it was awesome. I think the Alamo Dome is like out of all the big stadiums they play the Final Four, and I think they do it the best in San Antonio. It doesn't feel quite as like spaced out and massive as some of the others they've played it in. So it definitely felt like there was a real environment in there too. And Walter Clayton from Florida is so freaking good. I think he finished
Yeah.
with 34 points. I mean, he just took over the game and Auburn kind of came out flat in the second half offensively, and Florida picked up the pace on them a little bit, and that's kind of their game. And just they were able to build a little bit of a lead and sustain it down the stretch. But the Houston Duke game was insane. I don't know if you caught any highlights or anything from that one.
I saw the ending of it. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kind of sick, man. I wanted Duke to win, and that there's a lot of reasons. I think I expressed enough last week how I feel about Cooper Flag, but
Yeah.
also Calvin Sampson is he's got some Montana roots to him. His first coaching job was at Montana Tech
Yeah.
and Butte, and being a graduate and former employee of Carroll College, I don't particularly love Montana Tech.
Oh,
So,
he was also a Coug too. You know, he
well, yes,
coached
that too,
4 years for the
that too.
Cougs, but
But
he
like
knew
this
how
guy,
to. Yeah.
he knows how to find his way to my rivals, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
find out that he was like a Grizz at some point as well. I don't know.
Yeah. He's a great guy. He had some great press conferences where he's just very, just such a I'd say classy.
Yes.
And he talked about how to pronounce Gonzaga,
Yeah,
and
that
he
was good.
talked about his appreciation for the school and everything it's, done. And uh, yeah, I mean, I just never thought of University of Houston as like a basketball school, and
Yeah.
he's
I mean,
achieved,
a sleeping giant apparently.
yeah, he's achieved an enormous amount of success, and I think he's one of the best. Would you consider Florida a blue blood?
No.
No, even with the back to back with Billy Donovan. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the best thing, like the biggest thing for Florida that they have going for them is that at one point Ryan Appleby played there.
yeah. There you go.
So I think that's
How to
my
get to my
favorite
heart.
thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's my favorite thing
yeah,
about the Florida basketball program. But no, I think that they've been super relevant. But there's kind of this wave after Billy Donovan left where they were just all right.
yeah,
So and even before the two national championships they won, like they weren't necessarily just like knocking on the door every year.
yeah,
So I think that's a very good program and obviously a very good job. And Todd Golden has shown just how good of a job that can be with the amount of success he's achieved this year. But
yeah,
I just don't think they're not on the same level as a Duke or a UConn or Kansas. And I just think the bar for
yeah,
blue bloods is set at a certain height. And now a national championship win tomorrow night might swing them in the right direction towards that, but still, I just
yeah.
don't think they're there.
Yep, yep. And then on the women's side, tomorrow or tonight, well, we just had the result. Um, Paige Beckers, man. Do, do you think she's going to go to the do you, do you think she's going to go to the draft, or do you think she's going to
Yes,
go
I think
back?
she actually just confirmed that like over the
Okay.
last like week or so.
Okay. I was hoping she'd hold out and the Storm could somehow like tank for her. Okay. Well, that will be interesting. Well, it'd also be interesting if she wants to actually be picked by the number one pick. So I don't know if you've kind of got around the speculation, but the Storm, when they traded Jewel Lloyd, obtained the second pick, and the ESPN article, I think Shams wrote it, included this tidbit about how Paige Beckers may not want to um, come out of the come out of college, which was implying like maybe she doesn't want to play for Houston. Now, I don't see
Dallas.
Paige Becker or Dallas, and I don't see her pulling an Eli Manning, but it does make you think like there is a reason why she doesn't want to play at Dallas, and I think it's a political reason. I won't go too far into that territory, but I do think that that is an interesting storyline to watch and to see if she could potentially fall to Seattle or if Dallas will trade its pick, knowing that if they get her, she doesn't want to play there. Um, I haven't dug too deep. I don't know who represents her. But and I don't want to start conspiracy theories, but when ESPN puts out an article and Brian said this and they say that there's a reason why that was said. Whether it was her agent pushing forth that narrative or something, the seed has been planted. So I think it's a storyline to watch. Also, there's something to be said of like being picked number one, but I guess Eli Manning didn't care. So
Yeah, I mean Eli Manning was still the number one pick.
yeah,
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 but I don't know. I think I like you. I'm paying attention, but
yeah,
I haven't looked too much into it. I just
yeah.
am glad that she's a national champion because
Oh yeah,
it would have been I guess the basketball gods usually find a way to work things out with when there's a
yeah,
player like Paige Backers who has the career she has, like it's only right that it ended with her winning a national championship.
yep.
Of course, we're also on the heels of Caitlin Clark going through like the greatest career ever as a college player and not winning a national championship. So maybe I don't
Yeah,
know what I'm talking about, but
yeah,
it was only a matter of time before UConn got back to the mountaintop. And I know last week I said South Carolina was inevitable, and I was wrong, so I'll wear that.
yeah. Well, yeah, and I think he's like the one of the best coaches like of all time. Mr. Gino, like amazing. So hats off to UConn. You have a prediction for tomorrow night for the men's for Monday night?
Yeah, I'll take Houston. I think it's going to be a great game. I do think I was excited about a potential Florida versus Duke matchup just because those two styles make for an exciting game. But there's also something to be said about the way Houston defends. And the one thing the biggest thing I think for me with Kelvin Sampson is I think he is the best in the country at finding a roster that fits the style he wants to play.
Yep.
And he goes out and finds guys who will come in and just guard and guard and guard and guard and lock
Yeah.
teams down. They're physical, they play hard. I mean, they just that's a team that takes after the identity of their head coach. And I think that's one of the biggest compliments you can give a head coach is when they have a team that embodies what they're about and kind of what their core values are. So I think Kelvin Sampson gets over the hump and I do think there's a world out there where maybe Walter Clayton gets another 30 piece and maybe I'm talking differently, but I do feel pretty confident in Houston.
I mean, it just goes to show like his roots are in the WCC. I mean, he played at St. Mary's, which I didn't know, by the way. I knew he was then he became the head coach at USF, got them to the tournament. And then of course when that happens, when you strike gold like that, then the coach immediately leaves and you're kind of just stuck. So I just think of from my perspective like the LMU thing, like it, you get a young coach, you get hot, and then that coach will probably leave. Or you get really lucky and you get something like Mark Few and your coach stays there forever. That's not happening at LMU anytime soon. So that's where my
No, but
head goes.
for USF to go from him to Kyle Smith, I mean they've had
Yeah.
some really good basketball coaches come through there the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yep. Speaking of college sports, UW football spring practice underway. They had 3 practices this week. They had a coaches clinic on Saturday or Friday or something like that. Sean McVay, Mike Shanahan, I think it was Mike Shula or I'm there's one last coach executive NFL type person that was there. Don Shula is maybe the name. Who knows? Doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
can't remember which of the Shulas, one of the
It's
Shulas.
one of the Shulas, right? So, I've been following. I obviously I'm knee deep into it, and um, I see what comes across the news feed. Did anything stand out to you out of the news or clips or anything that have been circulating?
Well, I think my favorite thing I saw was the picture of Sean McVay talking to Denzel Boston, just two people I think
Yeah,
very highly of, so that was cool. I just for me it's just good to see them out and going. And I know
yeah,
last spring it was so difficult for them to field a team for spring practices between, portal departures and guys who they were recruiting who hadn't gotten there yet and injuries as well. So it's good to hear that, like, the injury report's pretty small. Damon Williams has some game reps under his belt. Now he's the guy and can
yeah,
act as such through spring ball and into the summer. I don't really know quite yet what to think as far as like expectations for this season, but I know that I'm probably gonna overexcite myself much like
yeah.
I did last year.
Well, to add some color on the like, this is completely different from last year. There's some numbers thrown around that there were only seven scholarship offensive linemen last year, or maybe just seven total on the roster. And this was before the spring portal. So they were running practices with only seven offensive linemen, and this now they have 18. So that means you could have, and I've been a coach, so I know the value in having enough numbers, right? Like when you have enough players, you can run drills at the same time, right? You don't have to, you know, bank on all, depending on just one set of offensive linemen. So then another entire set of offensive players are getting reps, right? And you're taking advantage of that time. So I do think that it's very important. Also big for the recruiting as well. So a lot of recruits were visiting UW. All the practices are open to the public. So if you go to gohuskies.com, you can go see the practice schedule, find a time. I think it's Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, or Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturday. I think it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. And you can go watch UW football if you're into it. And they'll go through the end of the rest of April. Then they'll have their spring game, Dogs After Dark, on May 2nd. Um, it's just cool that we both love UW football, so it'll be very cool to see the storylines that come out. And did you see Jonah Coleman, the before and after, by the way?
Yeah,
Uh,
that man's been working.
yeah, like
I tip my
that.
cap.
Yeah, dude, the dude. I mean, already scared of him, like running full speed at me. But now him running full speed at me with the kind of work he put into the off season, incredible, incredible.
Yeah, I'm very glad that he decided to come back. I think
Yeah,
that's just it's nice to have a centerpiece, like cornerstone type of guy on the offense who has a year under his belt with us, but also 2 years with, Jed Fish as his coach and in that offense. But I'm sure his life's going to be a lot easier this year. You have a guy like Adam Muhammad who's got a year now down and can
yeah,
kind of continue to take more of that load. And then you have whatever revolution with this offense that happens with Damon Williams as the quarterback as opposed to Will Rogers. I can only imagine that's going to make things better for the skill guys. And
yeah,
Denzel Boston's the other one I'm excited about. But obviously, all the questions are going to be around the offensive line until we start playing games, and hopefully, all those questions will be answered in a manner that is positive. But I
yeah,
just it's just good to be trending in the right direction. I'm probably a little too into it. I'm going into the podcast feed of the Go Huskies podcast and listening to Coach Fish's press conferences
Oh,
and
I
stuff and
do the
hearing what he
same
has to
thing.
say.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I do
I
the same
just
thing.
you know what? It's just something that gets me going.
Yeah, no, no, I agree. Um, uh, right next to UW football, you have Alaska Airlines Arena, and Danny Sprinkle and his staff have been very busy trying to fill out a roster. I mean, they basically lost everyone. I think we can say they lost everyone. They kept Zoom Diallo and they kept Frank Kapdong, who well, looks like he has another year of eligibility. And then there's been a couple transfers in announced. We had God, who came in? Let's summarize who came in the past week because there's been some news.
Yes. So where'd it go? Here we go. Well, Somerville, the guy from Rutgers, the post player, he was the first
Yeah.
one.
Yep.
And he's a guy who was their third leading scorer behind two guys who are going to go top five in the draft. So that's a good start. I mean, he averaged like 8 points as a freshman, Lathan Somerville. So
Yeah.
he's someone
And he's
that's an inside
size.
presence.
Yeah, and he's played in the Big Ten, right? I think there's uh, I don't know. I can't tell. Like, I think still, I, I don't want to say that the focus was just to get guys with, power four experience because that really hasn't shown. But I think they're getting more of that this year than they did last year, or they're aiming to get more of that. So we had Somerville. We also had a German forward, Hans Steinbach.
Yes.
Um,
I'm
six.
I'm intrigued there. I
Yeah,
haven't
this
really
came
looked
out
into it,
of
but I'm intrigued.
nowhere. So this happened on what was this? On April 3rd. So this was, God, was that Wednesday? It was like in the morning, and it was it was Thursday. Draft Express broke the news. And someone messaged me and said, "Did you have any idea that this was gonna happen?" And I was like, "No." And I don't think anybody did. Like, he came out of nowhere. And I start to watch the tape, and I'm like, oh my God, there's like a lot of tape on this guy. And he's played, so basketball in Europe, there's different levels of play. So he's played with people his age, but he's also played with professionals. And uh, I'm not gonna do it, right? Like, there's European guys that have played with professionals. They've come over to the States and dominated, right? Like, or I've straight drafted, right? Out of Europe into the league. Um, he's not Luca, so
No.
don't get too excited. And it's really hard to tell like how good he is because there's tall European dudes that frequently come over and play for college basketball programs, and sometimes they're really, really good, and sometimes they're projects. I can't tell, and I don't think anyone that tells you otherwise, like you, I'd be second guessing it. So, a couple of scouting reports have him as an NBA prospect, which is good, but anyone that's 6'10" and that can run really well and has a decent shot and decent feel for the game of basketball is going to be an NBA prospect, in my opinion, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean that's kind of how it goes.
yeah,
And
so
you just got to hope for the best with someone like that, but
yeah,
it's not a I mean there's just a lot of size joining this roster, a
yeah,
lot of big forwards, and that's a great start. It's
yeah.
a great step in the right direction.
Well, who's our other guy that just dropped? The news came in today.
Yeah, that's Jacob Ognasevich or Ognasevich maybe. I
And
had a tough time tracking down a
he's
pronunciation
from
if I'm being honest.
Lipscomb. Do you know where Lipscomb is?
No, I got no idea. I just know they were in the NCAA tournament.
That,
Somewhere East Coast, I know that.
all right. Could you guess? Because I have it in front of me and I could just tell you.
I'm gonna guess that they're in North Carolina.
They are. Wait, I lied to you. I have the. No, no. I lied to you. I thought the game notes would just have it. Okay, now I
Most
have to
game
look it
notes
up.
do.
Um, Nashville, Tennessee.
Wow.
Okay, so
Sure.
okay, just let me tell you this. Their first note is Bisons at Lipscomb. Don't confuse us with the North Dakota state where they are pronounced the bison. The
Bison.
most commonly accepted plural of bison is bison, but at Lipscomb we are bisons with an S. The unabridged Oxford English Dictionary includes bisons as a proper usage. So, Daniel, when you are broadcasting a Lipscomb game, you better get this right.
I'll tell you what, man. I did work as an SID, and I never thought to get that in depth on a game note packet over the
It is the first
proper,
thing.
yeah, the proper verbiage. I just,
First of all, who's confusing Lipscomb with North Dakota State?
not me.
That is hilarious.
Here's a fun little sidebar for you. Just related to this, so we played in a tournament this year in Vegas over Thanksgiving. We played against Central Florida,
Yeah.
and on their roster that had the pronunciation guide, there was this little blurb, and it was basically saying we are to be called UCF, not Central Florida. Like call us UCF. I was
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
that's weird. But
yeah.
I guess that's kind of like USC's probably the same way. Like, don't call us Southern Cal,
Well,
call us USC.
well, that's a huge deal too because there's University of South Carolina.
Yeah.
So LMU gets really, kind of stingy about this too. Don't call us Loyola because there's tons of Loyolas. We are LMU. Don't call us Marymount because there's a Marymount College. We're not that. We're LMU. But hey, if we're at that point and where people are talking about LMU, call us whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Call us Loyola, call us Marymount. If if that's the issue, right? That's great. If that's the national talk. So,
But back to what we
anyways,
were talking about. This
yeah,
guy from Lipscomb, he's really good.
yes,
I mean, the numbers are incredible.
he was he, he's scoring like dropping 30 pieces
Was
in
he
D1
was do you
basketball.
have on here was he ASUN player of the year? Do we have
Yes,
that in
I
front of us
have
somewhere?
that. Yeah, yeah, I have that. Yeah. So now they have two conference player of the years because they also brought in the point guard, but we'll talk about him later. Uh, but he was dropping like double double, 20 point, 30 point games throughout the entire season. Scoring 30 points in D1 basketball is not easy, especially if you're a forward.
Yeah, and here's the deal. If you like it's without question this that the Huskies need some shooting, and this guy's a 40% three-point shooter on over 100
Oh,
attempts. Like
and he's
that's
6'10".
massive.
How did they get this guy?
I don't know, but he's
Or
a
six
basket,
eight. He's
man.
6'8". Sorry.
But he's
Sorry.
220. I mean, he's massive.
Yeah.
He's a big dude, and he's got a frame that's going to fit the physicality of the Big Ten. Plus, he can space the floor. Like that's a great mix.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you get Great Osabar with a 3-point shot.
I hope this
Um,
guy can pass like Great Osabor.
yeah. Yeah, so he had two games with 32 points this past season. He can rebound. He looks, I mean, the 40% from three though, to be able to stretch the floor. I mean, he's a modern type of player. Um, I'm excited. I think he's gonna start.
Yeah, I mean, I got no idea. And also, like
Yeah.
when you bring in a player the caliber of Nico Bundalo as a forward,
Yeah.
like who knows what that's going to look like when November rolls around. But
I don't think I mean, 220 and Bundle is probably like a wiry, like 180. Like,
hey, he's a McDonald's All-American.
that's true. That's true.
But this guy is also someone who I don't care what conference you're in, you average 20 points a game in a college season, like you're getting buckets.
Yeah. So our other guy, our other conference player of the year, the conference player of the year, a guard from East Tennessee, which by the way, um, uh, Ognacevic dropped 30 on East Tennessee, or maybe I'm getting that mixed up with Middle Tennessee. But Kamari Peterson, um, also
Did you
committed
watch
to
any
the
clips on this
Huskies.
guy?
Yeah,
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 he's must see TV. Like just the different ways he's scoring the ball, he's an exciting watch.
yeah. So average 19.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3.7 assists, 6'1", 190. He's gonna be a fifth year senior. Or no, fourth year senior next year. Exciting. I mean, I think he starts in the backcourt with Mr. Zoom. Um, One thing people use to project whether teams are going to be successful or not are returning production. It's kind of hard to do in the transfer portal era because it's not like the same. So Peterson, for example, didn't play in the Big Ten, right? Um, our guy from Lipscomb did not play in the Big Ten. So you can't really transfer the numbers right away. But I will say they UW didn't bring the same amount of production in from the portal as they did last year as they are right now. Um, and these guys can score, and so it also makes me think like they just they found guys that have been productive and are experienced. So I don't know if they're done yet. Did we cover everyone? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, we
those were
got
the
everyone
big
they
four.
have so far. They should have, if my math serves correctly, they should have probably another three spots at least.
Yeah.
And who knows what that'll look like, but they have three exciting freshmen coming in plus a JUCO player coming in. Like the roster's filling up quickly. They probably the next piece that we're going to see is probably going to be another guard. Um,
Yeah.
whether it be another ball handler or just an off ball like wing type guard, especially with you lose Tyler Harris and Makai Mason last week, and I think like that news as far as when the portal opened, it came out a little on the later side. So
Yeah.
that's I
It
mean, I
makes
think
you,
those guys are
yeah.
both replaceable, but I do
Yeah.
think that that's also production gone.
Yeah,
Those two
those
guys have
guys
scored
were
a lot of points.
solid. Yeah, and I've been pretty vocal about how I thought Tyler Harris had a lot of potential, and then Mason actually just started being one of the best, probably their best player, in the final stretch. One last thing that I would add is keep your eye on Wesley Yates. He entered the portal with a do not contact tag, um, and he was just at UW, so we'll see.
I mean,
Um,
he's like the exact thing they need.
yeah,
Like he would fit like a glove back on this team. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I'd say I'm expecting that like at all,
yeah, yeah.
but that would be pretty cool.
I mean, I follow. I mean, I'm pretty tuned in with UW football recruiting, basketball. I will be completely truthful with you. I mean, how can anyone know that they're going to bring in, the SoCon player of the year? They're going to bring in this guy from Germany. Like, there's just no. They are operating really well. And I had a feeling that there was going to be a lot of movement because how this works in the NIL era is that the few guys that kind of move first are going to kind of quote set the market. And so then we saw an avalanche happen after that. So really interesting to see how they fill out this roster. And Coach Sprinkle um, is doing a great job. It looks like this has been a good successful portal season so far. So UW basketball will be the team will be completely different. It's crazy.
Yeah, get ready to learn some new names, and
Yeah, we'll learn
I
how
can
to
tell you,
pronounce them too.
yes, and I can tell you, he's bringing in production, but
Yeah.
he'll have his teams ready to play defense. He always
Yep.
does, and
Yep.
they're going to play hard. So that's you know, you combine that with the fact that you bring in these players who have scored so many points in their college careers. I think that's a good starting point, and I just think that you add JJ Mandaquit and Nico Bundalo to the
Yep.
mix. Like those two guys they're big time.
Yep.
Mandaquit's the guy I'm probably the most excited about. He's a high level guard, and Sprinkles had his best years when he's had great point guards, and that goes back to when he was at Montana State
Yep.
with
Yep.
Xavier Bishop and Darius Brown, two names a lot of people listening to this have probably never heard of. But if you look them up and do your homework, like there's some
Yeah.
truth to that. So
Yep.
I love that he's got a point guard coming out of the portal that's a league MVP, and he's got a point guard coming in as a true freshman who's a big time prospect. I mean that's a great starting point because I mean to me Zoom's probably more of an off ball guy
Yeah.
based on what I watched from him, and he'll be able to excel and score more in a role like that. But I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Top five. Yeah. I went first. So how about you go first and ask me, and then I'll hit you with what I have this week.
Okay, so I was a little out of left field here, but I was just kind of really what I did was I went to. Are you familiar with Sporkle?
Yes.
So I went there
Yeah.
and I was kind of like just clicking in and out of different like quizzes on there and finding something that I could use and apply and connect to the realm of Seattle sports a little bit. So we're gonna talk a little bit of football here.
Nice.
Um, more specifically, non-quarterback Super Bowl MVPs, and this is on the heels of the Seahawks signing Cooper Cup. So
Yes.
Yeah, so bear with me here. So there's actually a lot more guys who have won Super Bowl MVP who are not quarterbacks than I realized. But Cooper Kupp's obviously one of them. I wanted to see if you could name five more. And the kicker here is three of these other guys. There's four total that I could count. And maybe there's some guys I've never heard of that did play for the Seahawks, but three of
Yeah.
these other guys have played for the Seahawks. Four if you
Okay.
count Cooper Kupp. And if you want to count Cooper Kupp in the five, be my guest. But
Okay.
these are non-quarterback Super Bowl MVPs, and three of them have played for the Seahawks. Two
Okay.
of those three were not on the Seahawks when they won Super Bowl MVP, though.
Got it.
Three of them if
Okay.
you count Cooper Kupp.
Okay. So Cooper Kupp, Malcolm Smith,
hmm
right?
I can give you Super Bowl numbers,
Jerome
but that doesn't help.
Bettis.
Jerome Bettis did not win Super Bowl MVP, but your his teammate did that same year against the Seahawks.
And it wasn't Roethlisberger.
It was not.
It was Hines Ward.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, so that's two. Not counting Cooper Kupp. Okay. So it's kind of easy because you just wipe out the Patriots, you wipe out the Chiefs because it's always been Mahomes. It's always been.
But you don't wipe out the Patriots.
So literally Tom Brady didn't win Super Bowl MVP one year. Then who
He
the
actually
hell-
didn't win it twice, but one of those 2 years was a guy who actually spent some time on the Seahawks very shortly after.
Oh God, is it
And it's not Lawyer Malloy, unfortunately.
is it did Julian Edelman win Super Bowl MVP?
He did.
He
Super Bowl
won one.
53 when they played that snoozer against the Rams and it was like 13-3. Snoozer for most people.
Okay,
I do
so
like some good
Edelman.
defense and that was a good defensive
But
game,
there's
but
another guy from the Patriots that played for the Seahawks.
hmm
Oh, it was the running back.
Nope.
Okay, so it's not Sony
This
Michel.
would have been Super Bowl 39.
Bro, I don't know what that means. Like,
Well,
so
the
what?
Seahawks played the Steelers in Super Bowl 40, so it was the year before that, which would have been Patriots Eagles, I think.
And it's not Randy Moss. This is a guy on the defense?
Nope. Nope. Wide receiver.
Wes Welker.
Nope. Wes Welker never played for the Seahawks. This guy played for the Seahawks.
No, dude, I'm not gonna get it. Dion Branch.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
It's amazing. I haven't heard that name in so long.
I think you're at five. You got Edelman, you got Malcolm Smith, you got Hines Ward.
That's a great question.
If we would have sat here and talked for a while, you would have got Von Miller. Like
Oh wow, that's great.
the other guy who won Super Bowl MVP as a non QB and played for the Seahawks was Jerry Rice.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Which,
good.
If we
Yeah.
would have spitballed longer, you probably would have landed on that one as well.
Yeah, that's good. All
Yeah,
right.
you're probably wondering, you're like, why am I talking about Deion Branch and Chris Douglas Roberts 2 weeks in a row?
This is why it's awesome. Yeah. I kept on thinking I wanted to look up highlights of that team. All right, I got San Francisco Giants related. And
Nice.
I know you're a big Giants, well, your favorite baseball player of all time playing for the Giants, and he's part of this question. Top 5 home run leaders, and I can give you hints once you run out of steam. So they had to hit their home runs for the Giants. So it's their
Okay.
team leaderboard, top 5 all time. Can you do
Okay,
it?
so obviously Barry Lamar Bonds.
Yeah. Wait, here's what's interesting.
He's not number one.
He's not number 1. He's number
Played
2.
a lot of years in Pittsburgh. That makes sense.
Yeah. So he had 586 in two, which means he had 7.
That guy's wild. How many years did he play in San Francisco? Like 12?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he hit 586 home runs in that time. It's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty
So
good.
yeah, he's not there. He's the all-time home run leader in MLB history, but he's not the all-time leader for the Giants, which I find
So,
very interesting.
Feels like Willie Mays is number one. That's probably.
Yes, 646 home runs. He's
Did you
number
say where
1.
Barry is on the list? Is he second or third?
He's number 2.
Gotcha.
So you have
Okay.
3 more.
Hold on, let me go without hints first.
Okay.
See if I can pull this off. Next guess would be Willie McCovey.
Yes, he's number 4 with
Okay.
469.
All right.
I'm pretty sure Willie McCovey's part of the 500 club.
We're up in the 400s still at number 4, which tells me that a guy like Buster Posey's probably not high enough on this list.
No, he's not. He's
Um,
not even in the top 10.
could you, before we get into real hints, could you give me like a decade?
This guy that's number 3 played in he was born in 1909.
Oh boy.
He's in the Hall of Fame. He's an 11-time All-Star, and he's part of the 500 club. I don't think you're gonna get him, especially because he was not an MLB Showdown card. So
1909. He didn't even have the Cooperstown collection cards.
no, dude.
That's brutal.
Yeah, you're not gonna get
That was
this.
going to be my next question after the decades is do they have MLB Showdown cards?
No, his last game was in the 1947 season, and he was 38 years old. He played 22 years, collected 111 WAR. His name is Mel Ott.
Oh,
There's no way you would.
I know the name. I didn't know he played for the
Yeah,
Giants.
yeah. So Mel Ott
So
is
he's third.
number 3. Number
McCovey's
5, I
4.
think you can get. Number 5, I think you can get.
Did number 5 have a Showdown card?
I think yes, he did. And it
Okay,
was for the Giants.
for the Giants. Let me see here. Decade?
He played in the 2000s and
Oh,
probably the 90s. So early 2000s and 90s.
is it Jeff Kent?
Jeff Kent is number 10 all time with
He didn't.
175
He
home
played on
runs.
some different teams, so that
Yeah.
tracks.
So this guy also played on the Diamondbacks, I think.
Hmm. Diamondbacks, 90s, 2000s. Is he a corner
Um,
infielder by chance?
yes, he's a corner infielder.
It's
You're
Matt
gonna
Williams.
Yes, it's Matt Williams. There you go. He played. He was a 4-time All-Star for the Giants. Played there from the age of 21, from the 1987 to 1996.
And then went to Arizona.
Then went to Arizona. All-Star in 1999 at the age of 33. And so he actually won. He's part of those World Series teams with Randy Johnson, I think, because
Hmm.
he played up till 2003. So he had several showdown cards.
Who can I try and get number 6 since number 3 was someone from like pre-World War II?
Yeah, this guy's a legend. He spoke Spanish. Um,
Same
yeah,
era?
he's from Puerto Rico. No, he's like a Hall of Fame legend type.
Hall of Fame legend
He has an
type.
MVP.
Played for the Giants, huh?
Played for the Giants. Played for the Cardinals. Played for the Braves. And yeah, so he's in the 60s. 60s is when he was really
Did
good.
he have a showdown card?
He did not have a showdown card.
Man,
Do
I
you?
got nothing then.
Yeah, it's Orlando Cepeda.
There you go.
From 1959 to 1964, he made the All-Star game for the National League. He's
I didn't know Matt Williams was putting him out of the park like that, man.
Yeah, he had two. Well, so there's a huge drop off after McCovey. So McCovey had 469 for the Giants. Matt Williams had 247, and then he ended with 378. Matt Williams is like one of those guys that's not a Hall of Famer, but he wasn't a scrub. Like a
No,
five-time All-Star, won a World Series in 2001, 4 Gold Gloves. Like someone
probably
out there's
beloved by multiple fan bases.
Yeah, someone's making an argument that Matt Williams belongs in the Hall of Fame. He obviously does it, but you wouldn't call that person insane for trying to make the argument because he was not a average player. Like he was.
I bet if you walked around the Bay Area and found a bunch of people who are like, I don't know, 5 to 10 years older than you, I bet a lot of them would say their favorite player is Matt Williams. Like
Matt
he's that type of
Williams.
guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, I think the comparison here in Seattle is Kyle Seager. Like
Yeah, who I
uh,
almost stepped in and said he's actually not Barry Bonds isn't my favorite player. Kyle Seager's my
Kyle
favorite player.
Seager's. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Him
So
and
Matt
Felix.
Williams, Kyle Seager. Oh man, you only get so much on this podcast. What are you looking forward to this week? What's going on? What's going to be on TV? Masters isn't on for another week.
I thought the Masters was this week.
Is it this week?
I
Is
think it's
Tiger
this week.
okay? And it looks like Tiger's playing. I saw he released a statement on how he miraculously rehabbed, and
Tiger is not playing.
he's not.
That
He
was April Fool's.
oh, what, dude? I got totally tricked. Wow, wow. This. So if anyone else got tricked, well, we just got debunked. Thank you.
Unless I'm the one who didn't look into
Yeah,
things properly, but
yeah.
I don't think
So
Tiger Woods is playing
Masters
in the
this
Masters.
week. No Tiger Woods. Anything else? Obviously, the national championship tomorrow for men's basketball.
The Mariners play 2 series at home. I mean, how
Yeah,
could you not love that?
yeah, and it's gonna be great for your mental health when they drop 4 of the 6.
Hey, you know what? They keep showing up to the ballpark. I keep showing up to the couch to watch them. Like it's healthy. It's good. I mean, the NBA playoffs are like a week out too. Like we're probably down to the final 4 or 5 games in the season, and there should
Yeah,
be some pretty exciting first round matchups, especially out west. I'm hoping the Lakers can hold the three so that
yeah,
Golden State and Denver can go toe to toe, and the winner of that can duke it out with the Thunder. Who's to say? But
yep. It'll be good. It'll be good. Well, thank you for joining us this week. We will be back next week. It might be Brian. It might be Daniel. Um, I will probably be here. Please rate us if you haven't. And we'll see you next week.